And then started praying the Rosary while I love to exercise. And I'd start praying the Rosary while I ran and while I biked. And I found out that I'm supposed to meditate. And now I had this salvation history background, this biblical background, where I could start to draw in parts of Scripture during my meditation. And I would go out, and one day I was out for a run, and I was supposed to do intervals. This is where you speed up and you slow down. Right. Praying the Rosary, and it occurred to me, wow, I could speed up during those prayers that separate the Rosary, the Our Father, the Fatima Prayer, the Glory Be, and the Mystery Announcement. And then I can slow down during the decades, and that can help me focus on the mystery. And I thought, oh, it's kind of a Rosary workout. And I came home, and of all people, I told my husband about this. We were out walking, and he stopped, and he said, you have to write that. I thought, what are you talking about?
Because he's not leaning Catholic.
No, he doesn't know anything about the Rosary. He just said, that is a really cool idea. And he said, you need to write that. I said, what are you talking about? It was just a workout. And then I started being pulled in that direction. So I started, I didn't mention this earlier, but after I got out of the air, part of when I was pregnant during the Air Force, I couldn't fly. So I worked in the health and wellness department, and I would do testing on physical fitness, and I was always really into fitness, and I became a personal trainer and an aerobics instructor, and I kind of did that part-time when my children were young. And I got into metabolic testing and program design, and so I really had a very solid background in fitness. And so it all came together, and I started using my fitness information to design different workouts using the Rosary. And I would go out and pray the Rosary while I ran and biked, and these revelations that I would have, because if you've ever had that, they call it the runner's high, where your mind kind of clears. And
I used to.
But you know what I'm talking about. Or even you don't have to run. You know, the exercise, especially when you're out in nature.
I can run more, more a couple feet. But,
but even walking or on the treadmill or the rowing machine, you kind of get this feeling. The rhythm of the exercise clears your head. And a lot of people will go out and exercise because they've had a bad day, and then they feel better. But what I started doing is to direct this clarity of mind to meditation. And the opening of my mind through the exercise, and what I started to learn and study through the Bible and through the books I was reading, just started pouring in. And I'd have these wonderful revelations about the different mysteries, and I thought, wow, this is really something. And I started working on the book, and the workout part I wrote in an afternoon. That was the easy part because I had the background. But then I found I didn't know much about the Rosary. So I started studying the Rosary. I started, grabbing every website, looking at every website I could, every book on the Rosary. I would order scriptural rosaries. I'd experiment with different types of finger rosaries and rosary CDs and audio rosaries to try to find the best way to do these different workouts. And just reading meditations on the Rosary. So I really, really felt drawn to Mary and ultimately to Jesus through the Rosary. And it sealed my return to the faith, and I will never, ever, ever leave the Catholic faith again. I can't imagine. And now I'm just trying to work out my salvation with fear and trembling, as St. Paul says.
Yeah. With the graces we receive from the sacraments.
Yes.
And all of that, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And now, daily Mass is just part of what I do. I work my day around when I'm going to daily Mass, as opposed to the other way around, and trying to educate my children in the faith. And those 4 homeschool years were a wonderful opportunity to build this foundation of faith in my children. And I don't want them to go on the same path as I did. And when they go off to college, it's my mission to make sure that they've received apologetics and that they know exactly what they're doing and they're rooted in their faith.
Does anyone here believe in a God of love? Does anyone feel the touch of His grace? Does anyone want a glimpse of the mystery? I do, I do, I do. Does anyone ever struggle with darkness? Does anyone want to turn on the light? Does anyone have a hunger for goodness? I do, I do, I do. Oh, lift me up extraordinary life. Oh, wake me up so I don't miss it. Does anyone want to lighten their heavy heart? Does anyone want to heal their soul? Does anyone here want to know Jesus? I do.